Movie fans can sometimes get a little too invested in the series that they're watching. Sometimes we get bad tattoos that maybe we should have waited to see what happened to a character later in the season, or sometimes people get so passionate about certain movie characters, they feel the need to tell them to so that they're gonna because they are so upset with them, their portrayal, and their hate for these different movie characters. So in this video, we're gonna go over 6 of the most hated movie characters that have ever been on screen. Starting things off strong with Jack Gleeson as Joffrey in Game of Thrones. Now, contrary to what you might actually think or have heard when the show was happening, Jack actually says that he has never had any fan negative experiences. In fact, he has joked that fans are actually extra nice to him because of his role as Joffrey, and they feel like that people might be hating on him because they hate Joffrey so much. There was a recent Game of Thrones fan convention where he mentioned that a rumor had circulated about, and I had heard this rumor before too, that fans were being horrible to him and they were giving him threats and all kinds of bad stuff online, and he said that it was all completely untrue. And a final last interesting little note is Jack actually he admitted he never finished this final season. He never watched the entire series, which honestly, I feel like he maybe knew. You know, we should have tuned in to Jack Gleeson a little bit earlier, and we all would have been better off not watching the last couple seasons. Am I right? Next up, we have Samuel L. Jackson as Stephen in Django Unchained. Now, like when I was looking things up, doing a little research, Samuel L. Jackson actually had a lot to say about that character, about Stephen. And one of the things he said is that Calvin was a reflection of Stephen. Stephen raised Calvin. One of the things that Sam Jackson said was that Stephen's loyalty to Candy was rooted in self-preservation, right? It was just 100% there so that he could stay alive and maintain his lifestyle, which is obvious to see, but it also makes him one of the most despicable characters in the film because he's willing to betray his fellow slaves. Up next, we have Anna Gunn as Skyler White in Breaking Bad. Now, this one was pretty big when it was all going down. I feel like it was one of like the earlier, like one of the biggest shows ever that had happened up to that point. And so people just really treated Anna Gunn very poorly, unfortunately. There was one tweet specifically where it said, "Can somebody tell me where I can find Anna Gunn so I can her?" So then, rightly so, Gunn reported this to the police, where an investigation all turned out. They went to this kid, they found him, and he said, obviously, what everybody says, no, it's a joke. I was playing into the hype. You know, I don't actually want this to happen. I wouldn't actually do anything like that. Let's find another joke to tell. There's lots of jokes, and lots of, I'm down for off-color jokes, but maybe like, let's just rein it back a little bit. And then it became kind of cool to hate on Skyler White, and so it blew up even further after that. Things have died down though. Anna Gunn came out and said that like after all of that craziness did happen, people did come out of the woodwork and support her and raise her up. It died down. People realized like, hey, this is getting out of control. We can't be doing this kind of stuff. Up next, we have Louise Fletcher as Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Now, in the original film, Fletcher's portrayal of Nurse Ratched was so good and so iconic that she won an Academy Award for her performance. The character was actually based on a real head nurse that the author Ken Kesey encountered while he was working in a psychiatric ward. Real quick, my name is Austin Kohler. I have studied, watched, and reviewed over 10,000 hours of film. I feel like storytelling is a part of human nature. It's one of the things that helps us connect. It's one of the things that helps us communicate and get our point across on deeper levels and on superficial levels, both, whatever way you want to take it in. I think it's important to be able to analyze and tell the difference between good and bad stories. So if you feel similarly, please subscribe. Up next, we have Amilda Staunton, who plays Dolores Umbridge in Harry Potter. Now, I just got to say real quick right off the bat, I'm not a big Harry Potter guy. All right, I'm not like, I don't know all the ins and outs, the Horcruxes and the triangles and the circle and the stuff. I don't know about all of it, okay? So don't come at me, don't attack me. But she is one of the most hated. When I was doing the research, she kept coming up and I was like, okay, I can't not talk about Dolores Umbridge. And what's interesting, what I learned as not a Harry Potter head, is that she's more hated even than Lord Voldemort, because Lord Voldemort am I allowed to say his name? He who shall not be named. The thing is people feel like, he's just bad guy, power, control, take over the world kind of vibe. But the reason they hate Umbridge so much is that she feels real. Apparently, she feels like someone that like you could bump into at the grocery store, or someone in your family who's like, she's more psychologically evil. She's like an everyday evil, where she's mean to people to lift herself up, and she's like a Karen is what I was reading a lot of. And she's taking advantage of these kids for her own personal gain, and she's trying to kill them, do all these extra bad stuff. So I had to throw Dolores Umbridge in here if you're a huge Harry Potter fan, please let me down in the comments why she is so evil, because I wish I could speak a little bit more to it other than the fact that she's more believable, more real, more personable, and we feel like we as in fans of the book and of the shows, of the movies, that she's someone that you know. And lastly, we have the one and only Pam Ferris as Miss Trunchable in Matilda. Now, Ferris drew a lot of inspiration from her real life gardener, describing this gardener, as an 80-year-old who is the most incredible bully to her clients. So she drew a lot of inspiration from this gardener apparently, and Ferris developed an intricate personal theory about Trunchable's inner life. Like, it's one thing, look for inspiration in your life to draw upon like this evil, terrible, bad character, but what Ferris ended up doing, which I think is cool, she kind of built upon like the character's why she was the way that she was. She believed the character was struggling with steroid use, which I think is super cool for Pam Ferris to have done. She explained that she felt this way because of Miss Trunchable's like extreme strong physique, her obsessions, and her volatile behavior is what she said. So it was cool to kind of see Ferris play that, get deeper into it, and she imagined Trunchable as someone who consistently was battling between maintaining a strict physical regimen and succumbing to moments of weakness like eating chocolate cake. So I think it's a really cool, like a little deeper thought on Miss Trunchable. She might not be one of the most hated people of all time, but she was bad. I mean, for the kids, she was peak evil, right? And they defeat her. What's also kind of cool is Danny DeVito, the director, and Ferris, they thought it would be a good idea to hide Pam from the kids and only basically have her come out as Miss Trunchable so that the kids were even more scared of her, which I think is super rad. And then later in her life, she always said that Miss Trunchable was one of her very favorite characters that she ever got to play. Patreon.com/AustinKoehler. Right now, the collaborator tier is where you get to write in to shows and videos like this. It is free for 7 days. So you can head over there, write a little comment, drop me a line, and I will read your comments in some of my upcoming videos. You can subscribe here and click here for more videos. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.